Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back. We're here for groups C and D now for the day 1 of DreamHack Winter 2014. We did have a small break there. It was kind of nice, I felt necessary almost, but yeah, let's get into introducing these players. It's the first group, the first best of 3, spawning in the top right corner of the map, play for Samsung Galaxy. It's going to be, of course, the red Zerg player, Solar.
In the bottom left, the yellow Protoss. It's my insanity, Stardust.
I need to just adjust your volume here just a smidgen. Give me a sec. Hey, StarCraft, when I tab out, don't tab me back in. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. I forgot we had restarted the call here, so that should be a little bit better. But okay. Stardust is actually, it's interesting. I wish I could say more about him. When the WCS system started coming into play, when more prominent tournaments, NYI and stuff too, like all these things at the same time was kind of when Stardust became, I guess, more of a recluse, I guess. I mean, once upon a time we'd see him go for StarCrafts and Zotac Cups and you name it, but really decided to spend all of his energy focusing on the big boy cups. And he's won a couple. I mean, like, I remember when he broke out with a DreamHack win, Asus ROG, all these other things. Like, Stardust has definitely made his money's worth when it comes to the tournament scene, but I can't really say a lot about him because sadly, being that recluse, we don't see him on a regular basis like we do with Solar. You know, Solar comes out for just about every cup lately nowadays. It feels he's been kicking ass. He just took a DreamHack very recently, and above all else, he participates in a lot of cups, pretty much everywhere. IEM, MSI, Li Fang, 32 Boys 1 Cup. Like, he has just been all over the place. So we've had our pick of the litter when it comes to casting Solar.
I believe that, didn't Penguin, when he was on the late game? Yeah, that one. He was like, said that Stardust was like, you know, how many Terrans do I have? 1? Okay, no problem. Right? Isn't that what he said?
I don't know, but it sounds like something Penguin would say, so.
Well, you were in the call, but I guess you don't remember. It's okay. It's okay. Got you. But I'm pretty sure that is what he said. That he was like more fearful of Terrans than he was of any other race. And 4G was the only one that was here. Who, by the way, had a recent, like, boon to his life, I guess. It was rather nice of WCS to, I don't know, make it a 4GG rule.
Oh, when Stardust was in the background, I thought you meant, like, what Penguin was saying. I was like, what? Like,
I guess Penguin was relaying what Stardust was saying.
Yeah, but I thought you meant more like you just meant, like, on the team, my insanity, how many Terrans do we have? Like, 1? Not a problem.
Okay. Oh.
Not referring to the group here. God, Zambrigo. Jesus.
Yeah, it's totally my bad.
No, I'm just waking up. But yeah, so I mean, 4GG this is actually a really interesting group when you do look at it. This is got almost no Terrans in it whatsoever. For all the jokes that could be made about like Terran being OP, 4GG I would say is a small advantage where he just really has to look out for his TVP, which I think is pretty good. I'm just saying this mostly because a lot of people don't know how to deal with his Hellions, but you are coming against the best players in the world here for DreamHack, so yeah, this will be an interesting group to watch it develop. But as far as EVP goes, the point I was going to make for Solar is, like, I come into so many of these EVPs, and I'm just like, man, Solar's such a good player, we see him go against Tasia, etc. Then we see him kind of flop sometimes versus Protoss, it feels. Not to say he's bad versus them, but Solar is definitely not a fan of 4 gates, and at least expressed this to me a bit in the past. And the thing about Stardust is, like, he does, I think a lot of people give him like that whole rap about being cheesy, but I look less at Stardust about being cheesy and more about just being really strong with his all-ins, no matter what it may be. Like, whether it's something in the early game off of 1 base or whether it's off of 3, like, if Stardust is gonna hit you, he comes hard.
There's basically no Zerg who can't say that they've just flopped a game versus Protoss. I mean, they might be like, oh, you know, I've always had a good handle on versus Terran, or, you know, I don't really lose to, like, Baneling attacks anymore versus Zerg, but versus Protoss, it seems to, like, no one can say they'd ever gotten surprised by a 4 gate, or 7 gate, or 2-base Immortal All-In, or any other thing that can happen.
It's like a laundry list you check off for that. But.
So it's like, it's not surprising, but yeah, some Zerg players are better than others. Like, maybe it's something to do with scouting, maybe the timing's better, I don't know. That they just seem to just, like, roll over and die to Protoss. And sometimes it's a game, sometimes it's an entire series, and they'll play, like, beautifully against another Protoss. And it's odd, but that's what happens.
trying to find a spot to maximize the damage of the zealot. Sadly, though, I think the control sword will kill us either way. But
I attempted the micro.
I know, he's like, I could split these and be 2 behind, but yeah, let's just attack. Alright, so the Overlord gets a decent scout, does die, but I think one of the biggest things was he missed Stardust 3rd, so you see a lot of what's going on here in the natural. That's cool. You see a Stargate, you see the Robo, you're like, damn, tech, but really this was the key bit of information he needed to see.
Yeah. Now he does have Lings with 1-1 on the way. Speed is about to finish, so okay, yeah. First thing he does is check the 3rd. Now with the cannon as fitted as it is going to require either a lot of Lings or plain old waiting for the upgrades before you can really do anything about it. Wow! Oh, he trapped the Lings. He didn't just force him out.
Yeah, seems a bit unnecessary, but kill's a kill.
Yeah, I suppose. He's not going to be needing too many force fields too soon. Solar is taking this time to just go ahead and drone. Stardust, though, adding on 2 more Stargates. As Fortress?
I want to say maybe with a question mark. It's just, it is weird to see this come down without the precedence of Mutalisks. I mean, you see this as a response to someone opening Mutas. You're like, okay, they're going to go Phoenixes, no problem. But to do this, 3 Stargates this heavy, this early, that is weird.
Let's see what he saw. He only saw 1 Eva chamber. The only thing that would like tell me like he's actually predicting a Spire would be like if he saw double upgraded Lings, which he hasn't been able to click on the Lings and see the upgrade, and he hasn't seen 2 Evos, and like, okay, he hasn't seen a Roach Warren either, but that could be because you just simply didn't scout the Evo or the Roach Warren. But it turns out it's going to be a good idea. It is Mutas, maybe.
Yeah, he was going to put the Spire in the main, but moved it elsewhere, so that was a bit of a... No, actually, still in the main. I take that back. It's the other drone that was going to become a second Spire, I guess. That was a bit weird. Yeah, because he had the one queued up to build and cancel. I don't know. Either way, the predictions of the Stardust are going to pay off quite well. Well, he does open with Void Race here initially. It's not going to be difficult for him to pump out Phoenixes. They're quick with the Chrono Boost as well. They get built really quickly, and they're not that expensive. So
yeah. So it's nice, but of course you do want to scout immediately what your opponent is doing. You don't want to be producing 3 more Void Rays when 20 Mutas come into your base. You want to get that ball rolling really, really soon. Lucian Phoenix is going to scout the Spire, but seeing the Infestation Pit as well. Did you actually see it?
Well, I think the more important thing is we have an Overseer that's been scouting the production of Stardust, so he's seen the Void Rays. Like, that's not 1, that's 2 and 3 that Overseer just saw.
I wonder what he's still gonna go into Mutas though, so there's kind of like an odd like they both saw each other, so who's gonna break first, and then they both still stick with their guns like Void Rays and Mutas. But 17 Mutas are on the way, and Stardust, he saw the Spire. There we go. There's the Phoenixes. There's always a chance that there was gonna be Swarm Hosts because there's also an Infestation Pit, but okay, now that Mutas confirm, it is Mutas.
All right, so this is gonna be an interesting air battle. A lot of the time, the Muta. Phoenix's dynamic gets interrupted and displaced by the Corruptors, but because there's already Void Rays in place, it's not as easy to just throw Corruptors. So we do see Solar investing in like massive amounts of Lings. Hell, he's going Swarm Hosts behind this. I mean, this is an interesting way to see this develop, but I don't know how well it's going to play out. I love the 3 cannons, man. We've been seeing Partying do this a lot lately. Stardust are now adapting here with 4 and 5 and 6. Like, he's just really playing safer versus the potential run-bys, whether it's the Lings or the Mutas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the upgrade for the Phoenixes isn't going to come down anytime soon. He still needs to get a Fleet Beacon. There it is, as I say it. And it's certainly on 3 bases, you can't afford to do so. You're already picking on a lot of Phoenixes. You definitely want to invest a little bit more into them, as well as the air weapons is already on the way. I think he's getting Void Rays, so they're just going to help with the Phoenixes a little more. And with the Void Rays, like, he's not going to make any more because you do want as many Phoenixes as possible. They're not that bad. They might stop the Corruptors from focus firing a Colossus, as they usually do when they get the opportunity or something like that.
It's kind of interesting, with so many cannons invested in every base, you gotta wonder, like, is this worth it? And I guess, I mean, he hasn't been doing Zealot run-bys or anything, so this is where that money would have always went. Clutch Gateway coming down out of Stardust, though, blocking out those things really nicely done.
Can he, say maybe you could block them out entirely, but not the case.
Man, these poor Lings can't find an in anywhere. There's too many cannons all over the place. Corruptors are on the run, not from the cases, but more so from the Void Rays and a couple of the stalkers underneath this. But Link's still trying to get back for round number 2.
Consistently, you know, keeping Stardust back. Solar really is on the clock. I mean, he does have an upgrade on the way, but there's not like 10 ult who's about to pop or anything like that. He's just he doesn't really want to fight the head-on battle. No one really does, especially a Muta player.
It's almost really interesting. So we saw him invest in this slowly behind the scenes. These in no way help him shoot up, but oh, they're gonna get grabbed by beamed if not careful. Will get caught. The Muta count really just has taken a nosedive, and this is looking really bad for Solar. A really awkward air competition, but I mean, the Corruptors, if they can clean out the Phoenixes, they can start working on everything else. With these Void Rays, that prismatic alignment just going ham here, destroying the Corruptors.
I wondered what he was trying to focus on, or if he was even focusing anything, and I thought maybe the Void Rays are the best idea, but they don't die until now, and 3 Colossus. Well, 2 Colossus are still alive, so, I mean, the trade for all of his Corruptors maybe wasn't necessary, but it might be okay if he had a big swamp of any other unit, but
yeah, that's the problem. Like Roaches, Zerglings, Hydralisks. I mean, the Swarm Host that he lost earlier, it might have only been 3, but that was pretty critical to what would have helped clear up these Stalkers. This is a really tight bind for the to be in. There's not a whole lot of actual units out for Stardust, but it's enough, because there's nothing to stop them.
Well, you know, Stardust is exactly on the best, you know, he's on the best upgrades, only has +1, and I don't even think, Blink isn't even on these
that
units.
This a lot. Normally you could just go ham on the hatch rate and blink away, but without that option available, it's a little bit more difficult. But the Swarm Hosts for Solar look like they're starting to push it back.
Yeah, I don't know about Stardust continuing with these Phoenixes. We've seen people who have Phoenixes, like they open up with Phoenixes, they had 6 Phoenixes anyways, do good work with them against Swarm Hosts, like surprisingly buy the same amount of time and do the amount of damage that maybe Blink Stalkers would have. But to do it as a late game composition, I don't know. Although there was a game, I think, where we had like 20 Phoenixes at like a 20-30 minute long DVP, and they actually worked. I can't remember who it was though.
Sorry about the loud noise, by the way, guys. This is garbage day, and Garbage Truck is now gone, so it should be a little bit less noisy here on the stream. But I'm surprised actually less about like what Stardust is doing here for composition, and more the fact that he's like on such a high probe count. I mean, all jokes aside about what he's known for here, he's actually got a crazy good economy for this late in the game for what a Protoss player normally has. So right now, not quite at the point where he's able to throw things away, but he is accruing a bank behind this. So that's going to work out quite nicely. Still, the investment in the cannons here is hilarious, but completely effective. I mean, Stardust has been playing a tower defense, more or less, and it's been paying off.
We got some Void Rays mixing in here. They are starting to get, well, Stardust is starting to get the tech that you would see in a more natural progression than what we see in this game. Yeah. So, charge on the way is, you know, +2 is on the way for both his air and his ground. Blink isn't a bad thing to invest in if you have enough money. He certainly does. Kind of surprised he's, or I would be surprised he didn't start that after charge.
So fighting the Phoenixes head-on is not a problem for the Corruptors, even if at an upgrade disadvantage. It's the Stalkers on the ground that really start driving us back, and that's where these Lings and the Swarm Hosts start coming to play. But I think that alone would warrant the necessity of Blink more than anything else, but still, without Blink, it's going to be a little bit hard to maneuver around most of what's available. So the Swarm Hosts, the Corruptors start laying some siege.
Use your new ability! Oh, shit.
JK, it's not like you see the Void.
Wow.
Swarm Hosts are slowly starting to knock this stuff down here, guys. Not exactly devastating Stardust, but still, this is a point where he has to defend. And I don't think you can really turtle up quite like this. He doesn't have the Colossus count to beat this back. He doesn't have a Mothership out. I mean, I kind of questioned the choice of Swarm Host earlier out of Solar because it just seemed like so oddly timed, but this is starting to work a bit.
Yeah. There is no Mothership core at all either. Like, never remade it.
He's pulling out of the base. I like this with the probes trying to keep him alive. I actually don't even know if he needs so many probes, to be honest, but he will lose the Nexus, but takes the bottom right instead, so can just expand elsewhere. Opening doorways. Continuing with the Void Ray production, you know, we've seen games where players just go like, what, 13 Void Rays? Like, just straight up. This time they've got upgrades. Maybe that's enough to deal with the Corruptors. I don't know. I mean, Prismatic Alignment is a hell of a thing. It makes him do so much damage for that burst amount of time, but still, he's got to find a way to deal with the Locust, and Void Rays alone will not solve that issue.
Yeah. Unless he is able to get up to like that very, very late game composition, like Tempest, Void Rays, Colossus. But, you know, without a fourth base being secured, that's gonna take way too long. And, you know, might not even work. You're gonna die in a very slow transition. Dark Templars are on the way, so Stardust is trying to, you know, starting to be like, okay, you know, Swarm Host time, let me go in to harass everywhere and try and buy time while I get up a big army. So far, not really working out that well. This is the third warp in, I think, but the upgraded Lings are actually doing a fairly good job against the semi-upgraded Zealots.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly weapon upgrades. They don't have the armor to take the hits like we normally see, but... You know, the Void Rays have started to dwindle down. The Corruptors are finally starting to win this out, and I think Stardust is on the decline quite heavily here. This is really starting to get out of control. Yeah. For nothing else, like the Dark Shrine, okay, the cool potential Dark Templar there, like Archons might just be a necessity. Yeah,
I really wish that the Archons came in earlier. I was gonna bring up a point like, you know, one player could probably cinch it. Okay, Solar could probably cinch it by having like Infestors. That would probably be like the thing that sealed the deal for his win. And Stardust could probably do a little bit better if he had Archons, and especially Storm. I mean, these Corruptors consistently just clumping up like this has got to look really, really tempting. And then you realize you don't have Storm, and you're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, the Storm would have been nice to have a long time ago. But Stardust starting to make his push, realizing I can't just sit home and defend all day. It's eventually just going to break me. So dives across the map here to go for this hatchery in the top left. Not a bad choice. Corrupted, of course, can't shoot down. So this massive swell of them, as hilarious as they are, in 38 is I almost feel like too high of a count. But again, they're shutting down the units that would counter Swarm Host. You know, Void Rays, Colossus, nothing's really working. So, you might not need a lot of Swarm Hosts if nothing can touch them, I guess. Quite literally, nothing can touch them. These Stalkers, without Blink, can't even really escape. You may not even kill this hatchery. Close, the drones have been pulled. The looks are actually going to expire here, so I think we might just barely not get it. Oh my god. What the hell? What the hell?
Oh, if only that +3 was finished, man. It just finished.
5 Archons in play, gonna start shredding these units if they can get connections to them. A lot easier said than done, of course, but as we see, Archons, let's not forget that bonus damage versus bio, splash damage, never underestimate this. But oh, the Corruptors flying on top of the Archons, that's a mistake. However, 4th base is knocked down once, so again, it's starting to send back to what is basically 1.5 bases mining. His natural is pretty much mined out, his main is basically gone. I mean, he is on a clock, Zombie Grub.
Yeah. The army of Solar is mostly Corruptors, though, and I think Solar's starting to realize that. He's starting to add in, you know, instead of more Lings, because, you know, Harass really isn't where his goal is, just adding in Swarm Hosts. What is left over on the ground, though? Archons and a Stalker.
Yeah. I mean, the Corruptors are going to have their place. They've got range. That's the one downside to the Archons. And they're still good at just about everything except for having long range, so... as long as he plays it correctly and he's paying attention, I mean, okay, he flew over the Archons, ha ha ha. But, yeah, I think he should be fine for this game. It's looking better and better as time goes on. Stardust gonna try to take a gold base here. Bit of a...
So here's, like, the best case scenario for Stardust is that, like, the Corruptors all die and they don't take out the last few Void Rays. And the Void Rays win in the game.
Chance that happens is very unlikely.
I say that because they're actually both not mining. Solar's 4th base was his only mining base. His 3rd natural and main are all mined out.
Ah, that's interesting. Good points. We'll see if Regen or Shields wins out, right?
I mean, Stardust is really... He's going to try hard to get up a base. If these Lings weren't here, he'd have such an easier time in this game, but they've killed 4 bases? 3 bases now? 2 cancels?
The Corruptors get on top of some of the air units here, so... this is... I didn't even realize that he had been sort of shredded so quickly through his own mining, but... I think what I look at for this is... free units, not free units.
That sums up a lot of ZVPs.
Right? This is kind of crazy because this is that stalemate game, and it's not like Stardust doesn't know how to react to this. I mean, keep in mind, there was like two very definitive Stardust like had Solar on the ropes. But I think Solar, he held. If he can knock down that gold, he's gonna have this for sure. But what little units he has to keep at home to defend his own gold.
It would have to be a perfect scenario, but Solar is well aware that that could happen. I mean, like, Corruptor's going over Archons like once or twice, and suddenly they're really, really dead. I mean, he does split. I like that. You rarely ever see Corruptor split without. That's most of your army at this point, maybe. I think you should have.
You gotta take a little bit care of it, yeah. So he's not able to quite get to this gold base with the Locust on this wave. You might be able to advance forward here a little bit closer. You get Transfuses going down on a lot of these injured Corruptors. And let's not forget the natural regeneration is going to help out a bit too. Yeah,
he could just sack the Corruptors, honestly, at this point. I think so. He doesn't have Swarm Hosts.
Maybe. Stardust, in the meantime, did get enough money to create a very nice force here on your left side. Perhaps could have killed all the Germs, I don't know, but takes out the gold base here of Solar. Solar's actually going to pick up and go home. I think he should finish off his opponent's gold first, though.
Yeah, that might be the mistake that really cost him. Again, no mining for Solar. And I say no mining as in, like, he has long distance mining to get the money for another hatchery. Okay, at 300 right now, but...
As you said, bad luck.
Long distance mining.
But so here's the thing, like, we talked about before about, like, potentially the Mothership versus Mothership Core, all these other things. It's kind of too late a long time ago, guys, where, like, when there's 38 Corruptors in play, you don't invest in a Mothership. It's pretty much not going to be worth it a lot of the time. But, yeah, he's just going to focus on this Nexus. Both players beaten back with their economy once again. Ling's catching some of these Zealots.
He has a fourth to go back to. Stardust, that is, though.
Yeah.
So Solar's waiting a little bit longer for his gold. Stardust just goes over to his other minerals.
It's so insane how this Corruptor camp can just die. One bad clump, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, not paying attention. I mean, like, is that likely to happen? No, but that's the volatility of those Archons. Like, if Solar's out of position once, it could cost him the majority of everything he has here. Oh, like that! Oh my god! You watched the red pop up so quickly, guys. So messy.
Like 4 minutes ago, I said maybe he should just sack his Corruptors, and even then, I didn't think he had to. Like, he would sort of have like a fourth or even a half of these left alive. But now, Stardust, you know, he's got a lot of Archons. He's consistently like wary with them, and he has a lot of Colossus as well. So the Locust waves are actually getting beat back whenever they can actually reach the army.
Yeah, this is a very precarious scenario, but I think, you know what? While this was looking really good for Solar for some time, I think the harass of Stardust is gonna out-harass that what Solar does. I mean, Zealot Warpin's gonna be a lot easier holding off Lings than Lings will be able to hold off Dark Templar. In fact, I don't think... Yeah, he's fighting out range with that detection, so...
I think for so long in this game, his Lings had just been proven so useful, and then suddenly they weren't. And it's mostly because the upgrades finished. It's on 3-1 as opposed to the 2-0 they were on.
Yeah.
So he's having to do a lot more Lings to each defense, and there was never a point where Solar had a big enough bank to throw down a lot of static defense. This game has been very back and forth. I mean, it's 33 minutes in, and this is one of those Swarmos games where I did not realize that. They have to count down the minutes, though.
Loses a lot of the Corruptors for that blast in the Archon. It still has a lot behind this, but, I mean, he can't afford to replace anything. Stardust can. This fourth base, this might be what's just won the game. This might be what's locked it down. The fact that he's mining means he can just warp in continuously, relentlessly. As you see from Solar, like, he's struggling to get any money out at all.
Oh, a lot of Corruptors went down. A lot of... What were they? Boltons killed? No, never mind. They all died.
Colossus, but is that going to be good enough? It does stop the harass on the mining, though, so he's able to mine off this gold. The Colossus are constantly dipping in, but at the same time, like, he's just bleeding out in this main. Like, he's trading out Lings for Zealots at a very inefficient cost ratio. In fact, he's going to focus the spawning pool here. Solar can't really afford to replace this.
Yeah, that's not even like, well, you know, he wouldn't like to. I mean, he's only on like 2 mining, but no, he actually was not able to afford it.
Does he still have an infestation bit? Like, why not start investing in investors? Or, sorry, investing in investors. Sorry. Yeah, the stock options, right? That's how you get the money back. But no, seriously, like, with a 5k gas bank and very limited minerals, that's the best thing I could think of they could do. I mean, fungal growths on the Zealots, perhaps infested Terrans here and there. I don't know, but Lings aren't cutting it anymore. That's the thing.
I think it's a great idea. Can you imagine this position with a couple of fungals? Stardust would never be able to push in. He would be chain fungled.
Yeah. Zealots continue to rampage around the map. The Locusts are trying to keep up with this. Small Ling counterattack across the other side of the field.
Oh god, the gold is up. Solar is going to be feeling terrible about this game.
We did get a bit of a sub there, by the way. Sorry, Warf_PL. I'm assuming the PL students are Poland. What's up, man? Thanks for that sub. But, oh, the Locust walking into the Archons. Locust walking into the Colossus. Not what you want to have happen. He's going to split the Corruptors and dive for one last big hurrah. But I think pretty much it for Solar. I think he knows it too. Man, this looked like this was going to be Solar's game for such a large portion of this. But at the same time, props goes to Stardust. He brought that back without a mothership, without like